Eto na mga boss, kakapasok lang na balita. Grabe si VP Sara, impeach na, inutusan ng prosecutor, binulgar ng ebidensya, pinakita ng Duterte 77 million. Base sa impormasyong kumakalat ngayon sa social media, mismong si Congressman Terry Redon nang nagpakita kung gaano kalaki ang laman ng bank accounts ni VP Sara. Imposibleng galing lahat daw to sa sahod ni Duterte. Sobrang laki, saan daw niya galing ang pera. Hindi niya kasi mapaliwanag kung paano tumalon ng 18 million sa 77 million. Kailangan daw tong isabpina ng DOJ, malinaw na galing sa unexplained ill-gotten wealth. Kaya pumabor lahat sila sa boto, ipatawag si VP Sara Duterte sa impeachment. Kaya eto, sabay-sabay nating panoorin kung paano si VP Sara, grabe, impeach na, inutusan ng prosecutor, binulgar ng ebidensya, pinakita na kay Duterte ang 77 million. Pero bago tayo magpatuloy, baka pwedeng i-click nyo muna ang like, share, comment, subscribe at i-hit nyo na rin ang notification bell kung gusto nyo ng mga ganitong klase ng video para laging updated kayo sa mga susunod pa nating ibabalita. Kaya tara, panoorin na natin to.
Madam Chair, this is the 2023 SALN. We can proceed to see the totality, the net worth, Madam Chair. 2023, can we go down further, please? A little bit down. Ayan, net worth po. Net worth for 2023. 77,508,841 pesos. This is for 2023, Madam Chair. Can we flash 2024, Secretariat, please?
Kindly flash the 2024.
Can
Scroll
you go-
down first.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. For 2024, released by the Office of the Ombudsman, net worth of the Vice President is, can you put it a bit further, please? Up.
Down, please.
88,512,370.22. So we are submitting it for the record because these are public records which our colleague had actually asked for. And if we will base it from the original SALN at 2008 to the 2024 SALN, Madam Chair, it is an increase of more than, I think, 1,200%. So we leave it to the Justice Committee as to whether or not we would consider it
There was an increase of 10
As a-
million pesos, Madam Chair.
Sorry?
From 77 million to...
No, the original
88.
SALN at 2008.
How
Which
much
was
is the 2008 SALN?
18 million.
1.8. Is it 1.8 or 80?
1.8.
It's 1.8 million. Do you have a copy of the SALN also of 2008?
We will locate it, Madam Chair.
So, we're stating for the record, it was being shared to us by the Honorable Redon that per 2008 SALN, the net worth is 1.8 million. And now we are shown by 2023 and 2024 SALN, which shows net worth of 77 million and 88 million respectively. Do you have any additional manifestation?
That is correct, Madam Chair. So we leave it to the House Committee on Justice to make a determination on whether the comparison between the original SALN at 2008 and the current SALN at 2024 constitutes unexplained wealth, which is essentially part of the impeachable offenses that we would want to proceed with at this point, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Rodriguez.
2 points. First point is that the impeachment proceedings in the Committee on Justice against Chief Justice Corona, this representation has attended since 2007, 4 impeachment complaints, which I have been a member of this committee since 2007. The first complaint was against the President, GMA. 2007, I was new, dismissed. Then we have Gutierrez, Residita, she resigned. And then we have Corona. On record, Madam Chair, precisely, this representation voted no to the Corona complaint. Because to me, there was no sufficiency of substance. And in the resolution of the House of Representatives, I voted no. In the Senate, it proceeded because the majority, of course, with the president at the time pushing for that, he was therefore impeached. In other words, the proceedings there are completely different now. I don't know that during the time they allowed it, but here our chairman is making sure that we follow the requirement of substance, that there should be sufficiency in form and substance, and there should be recital of facts. Well, in that particular case, I lost. I was against it. It proceeded. But I voted no. I did not want Chief Justice Corona to be impeached. Later on, it has come out that there have been lobbies with senators to impeach Corona, you see. So, therefore, that is what happened before. But now, Madam Chair, we are with you. You are presiding this very well. And we want to have the real recital of facts constituting the offense charge. And certainly, based on this, and based on the complaint, and based on the annexes, wala. Now, a new matter is injected by our friend, Congressman Ridon, stating about SALNs of 2023, 2024. Is that particular SALN, has that been authenticated by the Ombudsman? Do you have a copy of authentication of the Ombudsman?
Honorable Ridon?
I don't think that is required. It is public record, Madam
Well,
Chair.
you know, there's no automatic authentication, public record, all the records. There has to be authentication. When you go to a proceeding like this, it's the Justice Committee of this country, of the House of Representatives.
Madam Chair.
You cannot just state that it's a public record. Now, where is it? Where is it? Is it found in the complaint? Because we are limited, Madam Chair, to the complaint and to the annexes. Here we are. Here we are. We're limited with this. To inject something based on the statement, and there is no authentication that we have, there is no such thing as automatic authentication. In any proceeding, you have to authenticate.
No,
So
Madam-
therefore, there can be,
Madam Chair.
unless there is an authentication and the Ombudsman has already certified that, we cannot take cognizance of that particular injection of this new matter in the hearing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Just to be clear,
Honorable De Lima first, and then Honorable
excuse me,
Po, and then
Madam Chair.
Honorable Ridon.
Authentication can be done at the evidentiary stage. No need for authentication at this point. The committee can subpoena, can request copies of those SALNs from the official custodian, the Office of the Ombudsman. So authentication at this point is not needed. Thank you.
I disagree, Madam Chair. May I be just one sentence? Our
Proceed.
verification. I will read now the verification. Verification of this. What does it say? In the verification of the
Personal
complaint.
knowledge or authentic records.
Yes, precisely. We have to have ultimate statement of facts, personal knowledge of the complainant, Attorney Cabrera, and then, of course, here we go. I will read now the verification of Attorney Cabrera. Aha.
I think it was just
Allegation-
one sentence, Madam Chair.
Let
This
us
is one
wait.
sentence.
Let us
So
wait
this is my last
until
sentence.
he finishes with his
No, that's
manifestation.
3 sentences already, Madam Chair.
My 3 sentences is considered as 1 sentence.
All right, Madam Chair.
The allegations, number 3, the allegations in the complaint are true and correct based on my personal knowledge or based on authentic documents. See? That's very clear. Nobody can debate with that. And if Congressman Ridon says this is authentic, that is his word. We have to get authentic documents signed and duly certified by the Office of the Ombudsman.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Honorable
that is
Rodriguez,
5 sentences, but
That,
considered
that
as one.
was one paragraph already. The Honorable Ridon.
Madam Chair, it's a very basic question. That is an irrelevant response. You know why? Because firstly, I am not the complainant. I am not bound by the verification. Hindi ba? Why are you talking about authentic records? I am speaking as a House member and participating in House Committee on Justice. The point is not on point, Madam Chair. And my question is basically, are we being challenged that what is being presented is actually not the true representation of the SALN of the Vice President for 2023 and 2024? Kasi parang ganun ho yung dating. And more importantly, dinabas ho ito. Nakita ho ng bayan, yung 88 million
Madam Chair.
na laman po ng SALN. So, tingin ko that should not be considered,
Chair.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Po, and then the Honorable Suntay, and then the Honorable Dilima.
Madam Chair, so we can move forward already. I just want to clarify for the body whether or not the Honorable Congressman Rufus Rodriguez is asking us to ignore the silence that were presented earlier. Is that what we're being asked?
That is precisely to answer. Can I answer, Madam Chair?
You're recognized,
You cannot
Honorable
inject
Rodriguez.
anything not found in the complaint, in the annex. Because then the requirement that Attorney Cabrera, is of personal knowledge and or authentic, that is very clear in all verifications. Authentic.
Madam
We go
Chair.
back to Honorable Po.
Well, then, to that point, I believe that we should move into merit so that that can be admitted as part of the evidence, no, in,
Madam
the,
Chair,
in this
I
situation.
can, well, he's right to ignore it, but Madam Chair, just one last
Yes,
one.
you may
point.
proceed.
Well, he's right to ignore it, but firstly, he was challenging the availability of public records. So we were submitting the public records actually available. And secondly, I am not asking that it be made part of the complaint. This is being submitted for the consideration of the body that it is untrue that public records relating to SALN, unexplained wealth, do not currently exist. It exists. And we had been submitting it for the record, Madam Chair, irrespective of whatever documents that had not been submitted by this complaint. Madam Chair, I submit.
The Honorable Suntay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, Congressman Ridon stated two facts. First, tama yung sinabi niya, he's not a complainant, but he's trying to introduce new documents which he wants us to consider. Second, the document he is trying to introduce is not to the knowledge of the complainant. So, we cannot consider it here because it's not part of the complaint.
The Honorable Dilima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nothing prevents this committee from directing the production of SALNs as essential documents in determining the facts of these proceedings. Impeachment is sui generis. We have all the plenary power or authority to do that, just to arrive at the correct conclusion, just to substantiate and establish the necessary and essential facts. That is my position, Madam Chair.
Just like any other manifestation of the justice members, the document presented by the Honorable Redon forms part of his manifestation. And
Madam Chair.
therefore, all of your manifestations, including the documents which were shared, will become basis of the judgment of the justice members in determining the sufficiency in substance.
Madam
That
Chair.
might not be introduced as an evidence yet, but that might be introduced as part of the manifestation of the Honorable Redon. The Honorable Padiernos.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'd just like to point out in our rules of procedure in impeachment proceedings, under Section 7, kasi pag-usapan po natin yung mga SALN and other documentary evidence. So it says here that the committee shall have the power to issue compulsory processes for the attendance of witnesses and the production of documents and other related evidence. So ibig sabihin po nun, again, at this stage, we're just merely looking at the recital of facts, whether it constitutes an impeachable offense. So I would just like to proceed with my manifestation. So Madam Chair, on Article 5, the committee's task is not to decide whether the respondent actually has unexplained wealth. The question is whether the complaint pleads a coherent theory of liability supported by alleged facts, which, if true, could amount to an impeachable offense. As pleaded, Article 5 alleges that public records and financial leads point to assets and financial movements inconsistent with lawful income and allegedly not fully reflected in SALNs, which, if assumed true, raises a serious accountability issue under the SALN regime and supports a theory of betrayal of public trust. Kaya lang po, meron po tayong case. I just wanted to also share with the committee the case of Salig, where the Supreme Court held that it cautions that errors in SALN do not automatically equate to dishonesty, absent intent and due process. Kasi na-mention din po kanina, it's unfair daw po na kung merong hindi na banggit sa SALN ay automatically liable na dapat yung impeachable officer. So those considerations are matters for later stages. Again, hindi po natin sinasabing guilty ang ating impeachable officer at this point in time. We are merely looking at sufficiency in substance, yung which later on pwede po mag-submit yung ating impeachable officer or respondent ng kanyang mga defenses. So at this stage, the pleaded allegation is that the omissions are material and linked to unexplained wealth indicators, which it would appear would be enough to cross the threshold of sufficiency in substance. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Zamora.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 2 points. First, this is regarding the ultimate facts that must be alleged in a complaint. And this goes for all of the allegations in the impeachment complaint. Salita versus Honorable Magtalis, GR number 106429, June 13, 1994 states, a complaint only needs to state the ultimate facts constituting the plaintiff's cause or causes of action. Ultimate facts has been defined as those facts which the expected evidence will support. As stated by private respondent, the term does not refer to the details of probative matter or particulars of evidence by which these material elements are to be established. It refers to the facts which the evidence on the trial will prove and not the evidence which will be required to prove the existence of those facts. Second point, Madam Chair, we were discussing lengthily about the public documents, the SALN. Public documents follow the self-authentication rule. They do not need further authentication. They should be enough, and their existence as public documents is by itself their authentication. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Honorable De Lima, would you like to make manifestation?
That is exactly my point also, Madam Chair, about the
All right.
self-authentication rule relative to public documents. And SALNs are public documents. When we're able to get them, they are public documents. Thank you.
I think we have made an ample exchange of arguments in as far as SALN is concerned, but I wish to reiterate that while it is true that we cannot introduce evidence at this stage, those SALNs which were flashed by the Honorable Ridon forms part of his manifestation. And therefore, just like any other manifestation of the rest of the members of the Justice Committee, will serve as basis in our determination of the sufficiency in substance. Now we proceed to the next ground. Please allow the chair to read Article 6, Other High Crimes, Pattern of Abuse, Threats, Incitement, Interference with Civilian Supremacy. The offenses specifically cited includes admission plus capability equals grave threat, pattern of conduct demonstrates willful subversion, incitement and public official responsibility, institutional harm, and public confidence. We open the floor for deliberation on the second ground, on the sixth ground.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable De Lima.
this is my observation with respect to the sixth ground, the Article 6. I think it will now be unnecessary for us to further tackle and treat this ground as an article. And that goes through with respect to the last article, Article 7. Because as I was reading it, it's actually just a sort of a discussion, a summation of the discussions, the earlier discussions on the 5 grounds. Other high pattern of abuse, threats, incitement, interference with civilian supremacy. They refer to the same set of facts and allegations. The same is true with respect to Article 7. Article 7 says, pattern of abuse, cumulative misconduct doctrine, remedies, prayer, and verification. So these discussions are not strictly and technically discussions of grounds or articles. It's just really a matter of style that the drafter of this pleading thought it best to also include this in the discussions, but they need not be discussed, considered, and treated as separate grounds or articles. So for me, since there have been sufficient discussion already about the first 5 grounds in relation to also to our discussions yesterday with respect to the 3rd complaint, I think this is unnecessary to further deliberate on this, because it's clear to me they need not be considered as articles, but just a discussion, a summing up, a wrap up. So I move, Madam Chair, to dispense with the consideration or deliberation on both Articles 6 and 7 for the reasons that I stated. I so move.
Second. Madam Chair, I second.
Before we act on the motion, let us put on record the manifestation of the Honorable Dilemma that the 6th and 7th ground are summation of the 5 prior grounds, and therefore the discussions that we had in the 5 prior grounds, including the discussions we had yesterday already with respect to similar grounds, support already the needed deliberation with respect to the 2 last ground, that is the 6th and the 7th ground. We state that to form part of the transcript of records of our deliberation today. So there is a motion to dispense with the deliberation of Article 6 and Article 7 for the purpose of the determination of sufficiency in substance of the 4th impeachment complaint. The
Second.
same has been seconded. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is hereby approved. The deliberation for the 6th and 7th ground are dispensed with. That concludes the deliberation for the determination of sufficiency in substance of the 4th impeachment complaint. Having said so, then the members are reminded to be ready to vote for the sufficiency in substance first of the 3rd impeachment complaint, followed by the 4th impeachment complaint.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Before we proceed, we recognize the Honorable Senior Deputy Speaker Ferdinand Hernandez.
Madam Chair, this is just a manifestation before we vote on the sufficiency in substance. At this juncture, it is important to clarify for the public what this vote means, and equally important, what it does not mean. Our vote on the sufficiency and substance of the impeachment complaint is not a determination of guilt or innocence on the part of the Vice President. We are not conducting a trial today, nor are we rendering a judgment on the allegations contained in the complaint. What the Constitution requires us at this stage is far more limited but nonetheless essential. The committee is merely determining whether the allegations, assuming them to be true for purposes of evaluation, are sufficient in substance to warrant the continuation of the impeachment process. If the complaints is found sufficient in substance, it does not mean the Vice President is guilty. What it means is simply that the process will move forward to the next stage, where hearings will be conducted, evidence will be presented, and the parties will be given full opportunity to be heard. After the proper hearings and evaluation of evidence, the House will then make appropriate determination, either to dismiss the complaint for lack of sufficient basis, or to elevate articles of impeachment to the Senate, where the Constitution mandates that the impeachment trial shall ultimately take place. To stress, our vote today is not a verdict of guilt, nor an act of condemnation. It is simply a decision on whether the constitutional process should move forward. The House is not an arena for trial by publicity, but an institution bound by due process, fairness, and the rule of law. Our duty today is simply to allow the process, as mandated by the Constitution, to take its proper course. In undertaking this duty, we assure the public that the process will be impartial, fair, and faithful to the Constitution, with full respect for the fundamental right to due process of all parties involved. In this way, we protect not only the rights of the respondent, but also the integrity of our democratic institution and the rule of law. Thank you, Madam Chair.
To form part of the transcript of record, since we are about to cast our vote on the sufficiency in substance of these two impeachment complaints, we would like to direct the committee secretariat to acknowledge the House members who are present at this hearing. Chair understands the difficult decision that the members are about to take. And with that, the Chair commends the courage, the disposition, the candor of the members who are present right now to exercise this constitutional duty.
Madam Chair, point of inquiry.
What's the point of inquiry of the Honorable Padiernos?
Madam Chair, before we vote, may we get the guidance of the chairperson as regards to the complaints, wherein if you have multiple grounds and you agree to only some of them?
Under the rules, we will be determining the sufficiency in substance on the basis of the entire impeachment complaint. What is being determined is the sufficiency in substance of the complaint and not the individual grounds. We adopted the deliberation that we had in the prior impeachment proceedings, that is by going over all the grounds, only to give a better and wider perspective to all the justice members to come up with their individual judgment. With that, if the members have no other matters to raise, we shall proceed to vote.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Rodriguez.
In the PBBM impeachment, we allow the Honorable Laila de Lima to also state that in one of the grounds, he concurs in one, and then the other, she would not. Because for example, this representation, Madam Chair.
If I may interrupt the Honorable
Yes,
Rodriguez.
please. Yes.
The disparity as to the position of the Honorable De Lima with respect to the first and the second impeachment complaint, but not with respect to the individual grounds.
I have clarified, but can we put on the records, for example, if, for example, in the third complaint, which we are going to vote on, what will happen if 4 of the grounds for example, in my case, just to be able to state, 2 of the grounds, there is substance. 4 of the grounds, no jurisdiction, no substance. How will that be reflected, Madam
With
Chair?
all due respect, the Chair has stated already that the rule provides the determination of the sufficiency in substance with respect to the impeachment complaint and not to the individual grounds. Again, we deliberated per ground only to give a better perspective to the justice members in the determination of the sufficiency in substance. In other words, we will be voting on the entire impeachment complaint and not on the individual grounds. And we are not conceiving as well the situation where the members will be manifesting a different position with respect to a respective ground of the impeachment complaint. With that, we shall proceed to vote. The chair is now ready to hear the motion on the sufficiency in substance of the third impeachment complaint, that is Father Sabalia et al. Impeachment complaint endorsed by the Honorable Congresswoman De Lima.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Asidre is recognized.
Madam Chair, I move that we vote on the sufficiency of substance on the Sabalia et al. Complaint.
May we be given the opportunity to make it more accurate. We
Madam-
need to declare either sufficiency or insufficiency in substance of Sabalia et al. Complaint.
Madam
The
Chair.
Honorable Asidre.
Madam Chair, I move that we declare sufficient in substance the Sabalia et al. Impeachment complaint.
There is a motion to declare the sufficiency in substance of Sabalia et al. Impeachment complaint. The same has been seconded by the Honorable Tino and the Honorable Zamora. Do I hear an objection? No one is objecting?
Objection, Madam.
An objection has been registered by the Honorable Suntay, which means we will proceed to vote. Those who are in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Can you higher your hands just to make sure that the Secretariat will come up with an accurate counting? Secretariat, are you okay? Kong Dumogan is here and raising his hand as well. Oh, you may now put down your hands. Those who are not in favor of the motion, those who are not in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. It's okay. Those who abstain, please raise your right hand. All right, so that concludes the voting. Secretariat, the result, please. For the record, the Honorable Renego just came and she is registering as well her vote for the affirmative. That is in favor of the motion. The vote of Arnan Panaligan is counted already per the Secretariat. With 54 votes in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, and 0 abstention, the Chair declares the sufficiency in substance of Sabala et al. Impeachment complaint. So ruled. Now we proceed to the fourth impeachment complaint, the Cabrera impeachment complaint endorsed by the Honorable Abante and the Honorable Ortega. The Chair is ready to hear the necessary motion.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Rodriguez.
Before the vote, once again, I would like to ask. There are 5 grounds on the fourth complaint. This representation believes in the dismissal, no substance in 3, but 2 has substance. How do I vote?
Honorable Rodriguez, it is clear in the rules that we are voting on the entire impeachment complaint. The sufficiency in substance has to be determined on the basis of its entirety and not on the basis of the individual grounds. In other words, it's either you vote in favor of the sufficiency or not in favor of the sufficiency.
Madam Chair, I always agree with the chair.
Thank you. The Chair is ready to hear the necessary motion.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Zamora.
I move to declare the impeachment complaint filed by Attorney Nathaniel Cabrera as sufficient in substance.
There is a motion to declare the impeachment complaint of Cabrera sufficient in substance. Do I hear a second? The same has been seconded. Is there any objection?
Madam Chair, once again, objection.
The same has been objected to. We shall proceed to divide the House. Those who are in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Secretariat, are you okay? You may put down your hands. Those who are not in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. You may put down your hand. Those who abstain, please raise your right hand. That concludes our voting on the fourth impeachment complaint. Secretariat, result, please. With 54 votes in the affirmative and 1 vote in the negative, with 0 abstention, the Chair declares the Cabrera impeachment complaint sufficient in substance. So ruled.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Zamora.
in view of the finding of the sufficiency and substance of the 2 impeachment complaints, I move to issue notice to the Vice President or the respondent of the impeachment complaints to file her answer to the impeachment complaints within a non-extendable period of 10 calendar days from receipt of this notice. Thank you, Madam Chair.
There is a motion for the issuance of notice to Vice President Sara Duterte for the filing of her answer to the 2 impeachment complaints within the non-extendable period of 10 days. Do I hear a second? The same has been seconded. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is granted. The committee is directed to issue the necessary notice to the respondent.
Ngayon, kayo bilang Pilipino, ano ang masasabi nyo at reaksyon sa balitang ito? Mag-iwan kayo ng komento sa ibaba at atin niyang babasahin isa-isa.